Life in Albania, a $600 budget, and stunningly beautiful women in one of the most underrated countries in Europe. How is this even real? Imagine a European country where $600 is enough to live comfortably for an entire month. Rent, food, nightlife, everything fits into that budget. The locals are unbelievably warm, the streets are alive with energy, and many of the women here are easily among the most beautiful you'll ever see. And yet, no one seems to be talking about it. Albania might be Europe's best-kept secret, but after this, it won't be anymore. Just think about it for a second. $600 covers your rent, meals, drinks, and a vibrant city life. Now picture some of the most breathtaking women you've ever seen strolling along these picturesque coastlines and ancient ruins. Despite all of that, Albania still remains one of Europe's most underrated destinations. How is that even possible? To make it even better, Albania ranks among Europe's safest countries, which honestly gives peace of mind to anyone living or traveling here. Tourism is booming, growing more than 30% every year. And yet, it's still not something you hear about all the time. It really feels like the world is just starting to uncover Albania's hidden gems. So what makes this small but rich country so special? First, the Mediterranean coastal vibe. Albania offers golden beaches and sparkling blue waters, without the overwhelming crowds of other Mediterranean hotspots. With over 300 kilometers of coastline and more than 300 days of sunshine a year, it's honestly the perfect backdrop for a laid-back lifestyle. The people here make Albania unforgettable. Locals welcome strangers like long-lost friends. They'll invite you into their homes, offer fresh fruit from their gardens, and share stories from a culture rich with history. From Illyrian kingdoms to the Ottoman Empire, Albania carries thousands of years of heritage, authenticity, and depth. And with such low living costs, you might even feel like you're getting away with something. So why does Albania remain under the radar? Why, despite its beauty, affordability, and cultural richness, hasn't it fully made it onto the global stage? For many, Albania is still Europe's hidden treasure, a secret just waiting to be discovered. It's a place where you can live freely without pressure, without draining your wallet. If you've ever dreamed of living by the sea, sipping coffee at a cozy cafe, and enjoying breathtaking views without breaking the bank, Albania might be exactly what you're looking for. And yet, there's more to this country than meets the eye. Even tourists who visit for just a few days often miss its deeper pulse, something that goes way beyond beaches and landscapes. Albania has this energy, a mystery, and honestly an allure that guidebooks just can't capture. So, stay tuned, because in the next few minutes you'll discover why Albania is the perfect balance of beauty, budget, and adventure. But first, where exactly is Albania? Like, take Butrint, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that dates back over 2,000 years. Then, the next moment, you're swimming in the turquoise waters along the coast. The country is a beautiful mix of mountains, beaches, and small villages, all within, relatively close proximity to one another. You could wake up in the capital, hop on a bus, and be lounging on a beach in less than 2 hours. And let's not forget the Albanian Alps, which really make you feel like you've stepped straight into a nature documentary. The contrasts between urban and rural areas, the modern and the ancient, are honestly what give Albania its fascinating edge. Let me share a personal story. When I first arrived in Albania, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought, okay, this is a country no one talks about much, but hey, it's Europe, right? I assumed I'd land in some quiet, sleepy town, but no. The moment I stepped out of the airport in Tirana, I immediately felt like I'd entered a world where everything was a little more colorful, a little more chaotic, and way more fun. It honestly felt like landing in Italy's cousin. The one who's cheaper, more laid back, and doesn't judge you for ordering the cheapest wine on the menu. Albania is not the kind of place that puts on airs or pretends to be something it's not. It's genuine, raw, and honestly just ready to show you everything it has to offer. Whether it's old churches tucked away in the hills or the vibrant nightlife in Tirana, Albania's charm doesn't come from perfection, it comes from embracing what's real. And what's real in Albania is this stunning fusion of rugged mountains, inviting beaches, and a culture that's proud of its past but, super excited for the future. Despite being surrounded by countries like Italy, Greece, and the Balkans, Albania is still largely under the radar. I mean, let's face it, when was the last time you heard someone say, "I'm going on vacation to Albania"? Yet this little country has more to offer than places with a far bigger reputation. The food, the culture, the nature, and the people, it's like they're all just waiting to be discovered by the right person at the right time. One thing is for sure, Albania is one of those places you can't fully appreciate until you see it for yourself. It's a hidden gem that continues to surprise travelers who wander off the beaten path. You don't have to fight the Mediterranean crowds to find beauty, history, and adventure. You can experience it all here in Albania. So now that you have a sense of where Albania is and what makes it so special, let's dive deeper into why you should pack your bags and go discover it for yourself. You can actually live here on $600 a month. Sounds like a fantasy, right? Living in Europe, surrounded by stunning beaches, picturesque mountains, and a fascinating culture, all for $600. But it's not a dream. It's the reality of living in Albania. Real budget breakdown. Let's start with rent. If you think living in a European country means sky-high prices, Albania will surprise you. In Tirana, the capital city, you can find a shared apartment for as low as $200 to $300 per month. And we're not talking about some dingy, rundown place either. These apartments are usually clean, functional, and most importantly, affordable. You'll have your own space while sharing costs with a roommate or two, which keeps things cheap. If you want something all to yourself, you'll pay a little more, but still nothing close to the insane rents in Paris, London, or Rome. Now let's talk food. If you love eating out, you're in for a treat. A local meal at a restaurant costs only $3 to $5. Yes, you read that right, $3 to $5 for a proper meal. Hard to believe in Europe, but in Albania it's normal. Fresh, local ingredients, deliciously prepared without breaking the bank. Compare that to Paris, where a mediocre lunch might cost $15 to $20, and you'll see why Albania is a foodie's paradise on a budget. On days you don't feel like cooking, grab something from a street vendor or a local cafe. A sandwich or small snack might cost as little as $2, and the quality is still top-notch. Whether it's traditional burek, fresh seafood, or just a simple sandwich, Albania satisfies both your stomach and your wallet. Now, if you're a coffee lover, and let's be honest, who isn't? Albania's coffee culture will blow you away. A cup typically costs between 80 cents and $1.20. That's less than $1 for a proper espresso. And this isn't weak, watered-down coffee. It's strong, rich, and crafted with care. Coffee here is a social experience. Locals will invite you to sit in their cafes and enjoy a cup that rivals what you'd find in much pricier European capitals. Finally, transportation. Public transport in Albania is not only reliable, it's also incredibly cheap. You can get around the capital for less than $10 a month. That's right, $10 for an entire month of bus travel. And if you want to take a taxi or rent a scooter for a day, it'll cost only a fraction of what you'd pay elsewhere in Europe. For example, a short taxi ride in Tirana might cost you just $3 for a ride. You won't be left scrambling for change after every trip. Now, let's compare Albania with other European countries. The numbers we've just covered sound almost like an anomaly in Europe, right? That's because they are. Albania offers an incredibly affordable lifestyle compared to most of the continent. If you were to spend one night in a mid-range hotel in Paris, France, you'd be looking at a minimum of $100 to $150 per night. For that same price, you could spend an entire week in a seaside hotel in Albania enjoying fresh seafood by the water. To put it in perspective, $600 a month in Albania could buy you just 6 days of parking in Paris. I kid you not. But in Albania, that same amount will cover rent, food, transportation, and a good dose of entertainment for the whole month. Living in London, UK can be a dream, but your bank account will be in a constant state of anxiety. A single meal at a pub can easily cost $15 to $20. As for a small apartment, expect to pay upwards of $1,500 per month for something in the city center. And don't even get me started on coffee. In London, a cup at your average cafe will run you at least $3 to $5. That means you'd need at least $100 just to survive a month of cafe visits. Italy is a beautiful place to live, but it's also expensive. You'll pay anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a month for a small, basic apartment in Rome. Eating out, the average meal will set you back around $15. And although Italy is famous for its coffee, you'll be paying at least $2 to $3 per cup, double what you'd spend in Albania. Now let's pause for a second. $600 a month in Albania is not just cheap, it's unbelievably cheap. But here's the kicker, it's not because Albania lacks quality or charm, it's simply because the country has a lower cost of living compared to most of its European neighbors. So what does that mean for you? It means that for the same amount of money you might spend in a week or two in London, you can live for an entire month in Albania. The lifestyle is laid back, the costs are low, and the opportunities for adventure are endless. You can enjoy cafe life by the beach, spend your weekends hiking in the mountains, or simply sit back and admire some of the most beautiful women you'll ever meet, all without watching your bank account shrink. Don't just take my word for it. Here's what real travelers have said about living on a budget in Albania. I couldn't believe how much I could get for so little. I spent less than a month in Albania than I did in 3 days in Paris. I had my own apartment, ate out every day, and even took weekend trips around the country. I paid less for a week in a seaside hotel than my friend paid for 2 days of parking in London. Living here on $600 is like living a dream. The food, the coffee, the people, it's all amazing, and you don't have to be a millionaire to enjoy it. Let's wrap this up with a little humor. If you've ever visited an expensive European city, you know the pain of looking at your dinner bill and thinking, wait, did I just pay $50 for a small plate of pasta? In Albania, you might look at your $5 dinner and wonder if the waiter made a mistake. Spoiler alert, they didn't. The cost of living here is so low that you'll likely find yourself wondering if you've accidentally ended up on a game show where everything is ridiculously cheap. At the end of the day, living in Albania on $600 is not just possible, it's surprisingly easy. From affordable rent to cheap meals, coffee that's practically free, and transportation that costs pennies, Albania offers a lifestyle you won't find in most other European countries. Whether you're here for a short trip or considering a longer stay, one thing's for sure, you'll be living your best life and your wallet will thank you. Albanian women, beauty, confidence, and culture. This is what shocked me the most. When I first arrived in Albania, I had a lot of expectations. After all, it's Europe, right? But what truly surprised me was how vibrant, confident, and unapologetically beautiful the women here are. It wasn't just the physical beauty, that's a given. It was the confidence and independence that stood out. In Albania, women aren't just pretty faces. They're educated, multilingual, and empowered in ways that completely shattered the stereotypes I had about the region. It's like they've mastered the perfect mix of style, intelligence, and charm, all while maintaining a deep sense of culture. It's a combination that makes them stand out in the best possible way, and it's something that's hard to ignore. Fashion, style, and confidence. Let's talk about fashion first. When I walked around Tirana, the capital city, I couldn't help but notice how stylish the women were. There's an air of effortless elegance here, like they woke up and, without trying, put together outfits that look straight off a runway. From smart casual to more traditional pieces, the mix of modern and classical styles is remarkable. Even in the smallest cafes or busiest streets, you'll see women rocking the latest trends, yet always with a personal twist. There's this understated confidence in the way they dress. It's not about being flashy, it's about expressing themselves with subtlety and grace. What's most impressive is that Albanian women don't follow trends blindly. Instead, they add their own unique flair, effortlessly combining high-end pieces with local craftsmanship. Whether it's a handmade scarf or a pair of heels that showcase their individuality, their style always feels authentic, speaks volumes without saying a word. But it's not just about what they wear, it's how they carry themselves. There's a level of self-assurance that's palpable. Whether they're sitting at a cafe, walking down the street, or just talking to their friends, they move with purpose, with a quiet confidence that's magnetic. It's not in your face, but it's undeniable. Multilingual and independent. One thing that really stood out to me is how independent and multilingual most Albanian women are. They're not just about beauty and style, they're educated and smart. Most women here speak 2 or more languages, and English is widely spoken, especially among younger generations. It's not uncommon to hear fluent conversations in English, Italian, and Greek, along with Albanian. Of course, it's clear that Albanian women are driven to succeed in both academia and the workplace. Many pursue higher education and hold positions of power and influence in their communities. They're not waiting for someone to take care of them. They're taking care of themselves, building careers, and leading their lives with autonomy. But despite this independence, there's also a deep-rooted connection to family values. This cultural balance between modernity and tradition is part of what makes Albanian women so unique. They're not just focused on personal growth, they maintain strong bonds with their families and hold their relationships with deep respect. It's the perfect blend of modern feminism and traditional values that allows them to navigate life with grace and confidence. The cultural values that shape Albanian women go far beyond beauty or intelligence. The importance of family, loyalty, and warmth is, honestly, just deeply ingrained in their identity. You'll see this most clearly in their relationships, whether that's with parents, partners, or friends. There's a genuine warmth in the way they cherish the people around them. Loyalty is huge in Albania. Whether in friendships or romantic relationships, when an Albanian woman is with you, she's all in. It's not about playing games or pretending to be something she's not. It's about authenticity and a deep desire for genuine connection. In a world where relationships can sometimes feel like transactions, the bonds you'll find here are rooted in trust and mutual respect. It's something that truly makes a difference in how they approach life and how they carry themselves. And you'll often hear the saying, "In Albania, family comes first." It's more than just a phrase, it's a way of life. Beauty beyond the surface. Of course, no conversation about Albanian women would be complete without acknowledging their physical beauty. It's hard to deny that Albania is home to some of the most striking women in Europe. From deep almond-shaped eyes to long flowing hair, and from statuesque figures to radiant smiles, Albanian women often embody traditional ideals of beauty. But what makes them truly stunning isn't just their appearance, it's the way they carry themselves. There's something about the combination of culture, confidence, and personality that makes them even more attractive than any model you might see in a magazine. They don't rely solely on looks. They use their minds and hearts to make a real impact. Whether it's a businesswoman in the city, an artist, or someone running a local cafe, it's clear that Albanian women are empowered, and that empowerment only adds to their appeal. Relatable contrast, the West versus Albania. Now here's a little humor for you. In the West, dating can feel like a job interview. You know the routine, you talk about your job, your salary, your plans, your goals. It's all about trying to present yourself as the perfect candidate. Meanwhile, in Albania, dating feels more like meeting your cousin's cousin at a summer wedding. It's all about getting to know each other over a glass of wine, laughing together, and discovering how much you have in common. No stiff interviews, no awkward silences, just genuine connection. It's a refreshing change of pace. Instead of worrying about what you're wearing or how many career accomplishments you've listed on your profile, dating in Albania feels much more natural. The women here are down to earth, and they want to get to know the real you, not some polished, perfect version. And that's not just refreshing, it's downright rare in today's fast-paced, superficial world. The full package: beauty, mindset, and culture. In the end, what makes Albanian women so captivating isn't just their beauty, it's everything that surrounds it. The confidence that comes from being educated and independent, the loyalty that stems from strong cultural values, and the warmth that radiates through their relationships. Albania doesn't just produce beautiful women, it produces women with depth, character, and an incredibly appealing mindset. So if you've ever wondered what makes Albanian women so special, it's not just about what you see on the surface. It's everything beneath it. Beauty, yes, but so much more than just beauty. Food that makes you stay. When it comes to Albania, there's one thing that everyone seems to agree on. The food scene is outstanding. In fact, I'd go as far as saying it's one of the best-kept secrets in the Balkans. Think about this: grilled meats, fresh seafood, and flaky pastry that will change your life. The food here is an intricate blend of Mediterranean and Balkan flavors, but with an unmistakable twist that makes it entirely unique. This isn't just food for survival, it's food that makes you stay. You'll find yourself craving it long after you've left. Grilled meats and traditional dishes. Albanian cuisine has a strong focus on grilled meats. And when I say grilled, I mean perfectly charred and seasoned with the kind of love only locals can master. You'll find everything from lamb, beef, and chicken to pork, all enhanced with herbs and spices like oregano, thyme, and rosemary. These meats aren't just cooked, they're elevated, bursting with flavor, and perfected over open flames. It's not just about filling up, it's about savoring every bite. One of my favorite discoveries was kofte, Albanian meatballs. But not just any meatballs, these were fluffy, juicy, and packed with herbs. They're usually served with a dollop of tzatziki or yogurt on the side, making them the perfect balance of savory and creamy. And don't even get me started on tavakosi, a traditional dish made with lamb, rice, and yogurt baked to golden perfection. It's comfort food at its finest. Byrek, the Albanian pastry. Now, if there's one dish that will haunt your taste buds in the best way possible, it's bajrek. This flaky pastry is an Albanian staple, crispy on the outside, soft and savory on the inside. On the inside, the fillings can range from cheese and spinach to meat and potatoes, but no matter which version you choose, the bajrek experience is simply life-changing. Picture biting into a warm, golden, buttery pastry that gives way to an explosion of flavor. It's no wonder bajrek is loved by both locals and tourists alike. What makes it even better? You'll find street vendors selling them all over the place, and for a price that's hard to believe. For just $1 or $2, you can grab a fresh, hot bajrek that tastes like something straight out of Grandma's kitchen. And let me tell you, every bite feels like a warm hug from an Albanian grandmother who's perfected the art of making pastries. Another thing that makes Albanian cuisine so special is its commitment to fresh ingredients. Olive oil, and I mean really good olive oil, is a staple here. It's used in almost every dish, from simple salads to roasted vegetables and grilled meats. The local olive oil is rich, smooth, and full of depth, unlike anything you'll find in most places. It's not just an ingredient, it's a way of life. And if you're lucky enough to visit a local farm, you might even get to try it fresh from the source. Alongside olive oil, you'll also find fresh herbs in nearly every dish. Mint, oregano, basil, and parsley are used generously, giving the food a light and refreshing quality. It's like eating food that was grown just a few feet away from your plate. Most Albanian restaurants pride themselves on being farm to table, ensuring ingredients are not only fresh but also locally sourced. It's the anti-fast food approach, and one of the reasons why the cuisine here feels wholesome, clean, and full of life. Since Albania has a stunning coastline along both the Adriatic and Ionian Seas, it's no surprise that seafood plays a big role in the local diet. Whether it's grilled fish, octopus, or shrimp, you'll find dishes that are as fresh as they come. One of my favorites was grilled sea bass, so fresh it tasted like it had been pulled from the sea minutes before being served. Simple yet bursting with flavor, and when paired with lemon and olive oil, it's perfection on a plate. The seafood here may be simple, but when it's this fresh, it's hard to beat. If there's one thing that shocked me about Albanian food, it's the street food and the price. You can grab something to eat for as little as $1 or $2, and it will taste like something from a five-star restaurant. In Tirana, I stumbled across a small stall selling corn and potatoes. At first it didn't look like much, but the flavors were absolutely gourmet. The potatoes were crisp to perfection, and the corn had the perfect balance of sweetness and smokiness. The real surprise came when a local noticed me struggling to understand the menu. Without hesitation, he ordered a dish for me and handed it over with a smile. I still have no idea what I ate, but whatever it was delicious. That simple gesture showed me the warmth and generosity that seem to go hand in hand with food here. In Albania, food isn't just about filling your stomach, it's about connecting with people and culture. I had several moments where I felt more like a guest than a tourist, as locals shared their favorite dishes and made me feel at home. One evening I was invited into a family's home for dinner. They served stuffed peppers and baked eggplant, traditional, flavorful, and made with so much love. The hospitality was overwhelming, and the food was some of the best I've ever had. It wasn't just about ingredients or cooking techniques, it was about the love and care that went into each dish. Food here isn't something you simply eat, it's something that brings you closer to the heart of Albania. It's a way for locals to welcome you into their world and share something authentic and genuine. As I sat at that table surrounded by strangers who quickly became friends, I realized that the true flavor of Albania isn't just in the food, it's in the hospitality and community you experience here. If you ever find yourself in Albania, make sure to embrace the unpredictability of the food scene. One moment I'll never forget was when I was sitting in a cafe, looking around in confusion at the unfamiliar dishes on the menu. A local woman sitting at the table next to me noticed my hesitation and casually waved over the waiter to ask what I should try. She smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'll make sure it's something you'll love," before ordering me a plate of what looked like a simple salad. When the dish arrived, I took one bite and realized I had just tasted one of the freshest, most vibrant salads I'd ever had. It was loaded with seasonal vegetables, herbs, and drizzled with extra virgin olive oil that tasted unlike anything I'd ever experienced. The best part, I still have no idea what was in it, but it didn't matter. It was just another example of how, in Albania, food isn't just about what's on your plate, it's about the experiences, the people, and the stories that come with it. Albanian food is so much more than a meal, it's an experience. From the grilled meats and seafood to the farm-to-table freshness and the street food that feels like it came from a Michelin star restaurant, Albania is a food lover's dream. But more than that, the food is deeply tied to the country's culture and hospitality. making every bite an opportunity to connect with the people who call this place home. If you ever visit, be prepared not just to be satisfied, but thoroughly enchanted by every bite. When I first arrived in Albania, there was a constant sense of fascination mixed with culture shock. It wasn't just the beautiful landscapes or the unfamiliar sounds of the language. It was the way Albania's unique culture seemed to grab hold of you from the moment you stepped off the plane. First, let's talk about the language. Albanian is one of the most unique languages on the planet. It's not related to any other modern language, which means there are no easy comparisons to anything you're used to hearing in Europe. In fact, Albanian belongs to its own branch of the Indo-European language family, making it one of the oldest and most isolated languages in the world. So, if you're expecting to hear familiar words like merci or gracias, prepare for a completely new experience. I had no idea what to expect when I first arrived, but Albanian sounded like nothing I'd ever heard. Even the word for thank you, faleminderit, feels like you're learning a whole new set of rules. As a traveler, you'll hear it used often because Albanians are extremely polite. And if you try to speak the language, even with the most basic attempts, the locals will appreciate your effort, no matter how much you butcher the pronunciation. The beauty of the Albanian language is that even if you're lost in translation, the people's warmth and hospitality will more than make up for it. Now, if there's one thing that really took me by surprise, it was rakia. Imagine this, you're sitting in a small village cafe or maybe in a friend's home, and suddenly someone places a small glass of rakia in front of you. Rakia is Albania's homemade firewater made from fermented fruit, usually grapes or plums, and it's as strong as it is traditional. It's often clear, almost like water, but don't be fooled. One sip and you'll feel like you've just swallowed liquid fire. What shocked me most was how insistent people were about offering it. They don't just give you a shot of rakia to be polite, they want you to experience it. The generosity is so ingrained in the culture that you could be sitting in a random cafe, and the owner might walk out with a bottle of homemade rakia, pouring you a glass as if it were the most natural thing in the world. And here's the thing, you really can't refuse. In Albania, refusing hospitality is like rejecting a friend's offer to lend you their car. It's unthinkable. Rakia is a gesture of goodwill. No matter how much you explain that you're not a big drinker, they'll just smile and say, "This is rakia, you drink with us." Once you've had a few glasses, the whole room starts to feel warmer. Before you know it, you're laughing and chatting with complete strangers as if they've been your best friends for years. That's the power of rakia and the Albanian spirit. It's not just about the drink, it's about the bond it creates. The whole experience is a reminder that in Albania, food and drink are more than sustenance. They're tools of connection. Albania is also home to an incredible blend of religions, and this too can be a bit of a culture shock. I remember being struck by the harmony in which people of different faiths live side by side. Despite the country being predominantly Muslim, Albania has significant Orthodox, Christian, and Catholic communities as well. It's one of those rare places where, rather than religion being a point of division, it becomes a point of celebration. I witnessed this firsthand when I visited a town near the coast. Walking through the streets, I saw mosques standing side by side with churches, and it wasn't unusual to see people of different faiths chatting openly and enjoying each other's company. Albania's history of religious tolerance is astonishing, especially considering the communist era when religion was banned entirely. Today, there's a deep respect for people's faith. Regardless of whether someone is Muslim, Catholic, or Orthodox, there's a shared understanding of unity. I had the privilege of sitting down with an Albanian family that included both Muslim and Orthodox relatives over a They told me their differences in faith didn't matter because their shared values were far more important. Family, respect, and warmth were what truly bonded them. It was a beautiful reminder that Albania isn't just a country, it's a place of peaceful coexistence, where religion doesn't define people, but rather how they treat each other. Hospitality that borders on "are you sure you don't want to move in?" As amazing as the language, history, and religious harmony are, nothing prepares you for Albanian hospitality. It's unlike anything I've experienced anywhere else in Europe, or the world for that matter. The moment you arrive in an Albanian home, you're treated like family. And no, that's not a cliché. I've had complete strangers invite me into their homes and insist I stay for dinner, even if I had just met them. It's as if they genuinely can't imagine not offering you everything they have, and I mean everything. Here, eat, they would say, shoving plates piled high with food into my hands. You're too skinny, one woman insisted as she stuffed more grilled meats and bread onto my plate. I think I gained 5 pounds in a single afternoon, but honestly, it wasn't just about the food, it was the love behind it. It was the sense that family and guests are the most important part of Albanian culture, and that they'll treat you as part of that family whether you've known them for years or just a few minutes. One night, a local shopkeeper who barely spoke any English invited me for coffee and insisted on showing me around his hometown. When I politely tried to decline, he looked me straight in the eye and said, "In Albania, we don't say no to a guest. You're here, so we take care of you." The things tourists never see. But not everything was easy. Albania isn't all sunshine and roses. Despite its charm, there were moments when I felt completely out of my element, and not in a good way. Stay tuned, because things were about to get a whole lot more complicated. Albania is a country full of secrets, and not all of them are visible on the surface. While most travelers are enchanted by the beaches, the friendly locals, and the affordable lifestyle, there's another side to Albania, a side that isn't as easily seen or talked about. It's a past that still lingers beneath the surface, a shadow of history that has shaped this country in ways most tourists will never notice. Once you scratch deeper, you realize Albania's recent history is far more complicated and haunting than its picturesque images suggest. The communist legacy, a tangible ghost. One of the most striking things about Albania is its communist past. The country spent nearly 45 years under the iron grip of the Enver Hoxha dictatorship, which lasted from 1946 until the fall of communism in the early 1990s. Under Hoxha, Albania became one of the most isolated and paranoid nations in Europe, with little to no contact with the outside world. The political landscape was defined by strict authoritarianism, secrecy, and surveillance. Shockingly, remnants of this dark era are still visible today. Albania's cityscapes are dotted with old communist buildings, many of which, well, they're seemingly abandoned, yet still standing strong. These structures are an eerie reminder of Albania's isolationist past. Gray, functional buildings, long stripped of their original purpose, continue to serve as monuments to a time when the country was cut off from the rest of Europe. In cities like Tirana, you'll find these relics side by side with modern buildings, creating a strange and often disorienting contrast. The brutalist style, concrete, blocky shapes with little concern for aesthetics, serves as a constant reminder of a political regime that valued control over creativity. The bunkers, symbols of fear. Perhaps the most fascinating and unsettling aspect of Albania's communist past are the underground bunkers scattered across the country. Under Enver Hoxha's regime, more than 170,000 were built. Most were small, dome-shaped concrete structures that now dot the Albanian landscape. Originally intended to protect citizens from foreign invasion, they also reflected Hoxha's deep paranoia. Fear of threats not just from NATO or the Soviet Union, but even from his own people. Today, most bunkers are abandoned, though many remain tucked into hillsides, by roadsides, or even in the middle of fields. In fact, some are so integrated into the landscape that they're easy to miss, and yet they're everywhere, a silent, haunting reminder of Albania's past. In some places, locals have repurposed them as cafes or art installations. Others remain untouched, forgotten, and eerie. But for those who lived through that time, the bunkers are far from quirky relics. They symbolize decades of paranoia, isolation, and fear. Every few kilometers one could be found. To this day, older Albanians tell stories of growing up in a world that felt constantly under siege. Beneath the surface of Albania's modern beauty lies a complicated story of survival. The older generation, especially those who lived through the dictatorship, carry with them not just memories of endurance but also of resilience. Proof that survival wasn't only about enduring communism, but about finding ways to live in spite of it. I spoke with a woman in her late 60s who grew up during the dictatorship. She told me her childhood was marked by constant surveillance, strict state control, and the ever-present fear of being watched. You didn't speak openly about anything, she recalled, her eyes heavy with memory. You never knew who was listening. You never knew who you could trust. It wasn't only about surveillance, there was always the threat of punishment. People disappeared daily, sent to labor camps or executed for even the smallest perceived crime against the state. Fear was a constant. For those of us in the West, where freedom of speech and personal liberty are often taken for granted, it's hard to imagine. But under Hoxha's regime, those freedoms did not exist. One of the most chilling stories I heard was that children were encouraged to spy on their own families. Some as young as 6 were taught to report anything that seemed suspicious, whether a political comment or a simple gesture of disloyalty. Imagine being a parent unable to speak openly to your spouse for fear that your own child might betray you. That was the harsh reality for many Albanians during the dictatorship. Today, sitting by the beach in Albania, sipping fresh coffee while the waves crash against the shore, it's easy to forget that beneath your feet lies a history of survival. You gaze at the clear blue Mediterranean waters, watching locals stroll by, unaware of the horrors that shaped their lives. But as you wander through the streets of Tirana or explore the forgotten bunkers, stories from the older generation emerge, reminders of the strength and courage it took to endure the darkest days of Albania's history. People lived through times when basic freedoms didn't exist, when trust was rare, when speaking openly could cost you everything, even your own family, with your thoughts. And while today Albania has become a country of promise and hope, there's no denying that the shadows of its past still linger. You see them in the old buildings, the silent bunkers, and in the eyes of the elders who lived through it all. The stories they carry are testaments to the strength of a nation that not only survived, but thrived in the face of adversity. As a tourist, you'll never fully understand the weight of those stories unless you take the time to listen, ask questions, dig deeper, and see Albania for all its complexity. Because the beauty of this country isn't just in its stunning landscapes or the warmth of its people, it's in the way its past has shaped the incredible resilience of its present. Albania is a country that doesn't quite fit into the traditional tourist radar. With its stunning coastal beauty, dramatic mountains, rich history, and captivating towns, this underrated nation is filled with hidden treasures. These places are often left off the beaten path, but once you discover them, you'll wonder why no one talks about them. If you're looking for a place where history, nature, and culture collide in the most unexpected ways, then Albania's hidden gems are waiting to surprise you. One of Albania's most breathtaking spots, Ksamil is often called the Maldives of Europe, and for good reason. Nestled in the southern part of the country, Ksamil is a seaside paradise that looks like it was plucked straight from a postcard. With crystal-clear turquoise waters, white sandy beaches, and a handful of tiny islands just off the coast, this place feels like a dream come true for anyone craving a tropical escape. But unlike the crowded beaches of Western Europe, Ksamil remains blissfully undiscovered by mass tourism. The best part? About $600 will last you a whole month here, which means you can live like a king in a little beachside villa without breaking the bank. Whether you want to lounge on the beach, snorkel in the shallow waters, or explore the nearby islands, this destination offers both relaxation and adventure. And if the natural beauty weren't enough, you can also enjoy fresh seafood and local delicacies at waterfront restaurants, all while soaking in the breathtaking views. Albania's ancient Gjirokastër is often described as one of the most magical cities you'll ever visit, and it's easy to see why. Known as the Stone City, Gjirokastër feels like history has frozen in time. Its Ottoman-era architecture, cobblestone streets, and towering stone houses create a fairy tale atmosphere that feels worlds away from modern life. Walking through the city is like stepping back in time. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, Gjirokastër's preserved architecture offers a rare glimpse into Albania's past. The Gjirokastër Castle, perched high above the city, is one of the largest and best-preserved castles in the Balkans. From the top, the panoramic views of the Vjosa River Valley and surrounding mountains are worth the climb alone. One of the most striking features of the city is its unique stone houses, many of which date back to the 18th century. Built with locally sourced stone, they stand as a symbol of permanence and tradition. Some even feature rooftop terraces offering sweeping views of the landscapes around. Don't miss the ethnographic museum housed in the former home of Albania's first prime minister, which provides a fascinating glimpse into the local culture and history. Next up is Berat, another UNESCO World Heritage Site that will take your breath away. Known as the City of a Thousand Windows, Berat feels like a living museum of Ottoman and Byzantine history. With its white stone houses, narrow streets, and sweeping views of the Osum River, this town is a must-see for anyone exploring the heart of Albania. The most famous landmark is Berat Castle, which towers above the town and houses historic churches and mosques. As you wander through the cobbled streets, you'll notice that many of the buildings don't have straight walls. They lean at odd angles, giving the city its distinctive charm. The Mangalem Quarter in particular is especially picturesque, with its Ottoman houses and architecture that seem frozen in time. Berat is also famous for its wine. The region has been producing it for thousands of years, and you can sample some of the finest varieties in local vineyards. After a day of exploring, sit down at a local restaurant, enjoy a glass of Berat's signature wine, and watch the sunset over this enchanting town. If you're seeking remote beauty and peaceful solitude, look no further than Theth, a hidden gem deep in the Albanian Alps. This mountain village feels like it's been untouched by time. Surrounded by dramatic peaks, lush forests, and crystal-clear rivers, Theth is perfect for travelers who want to get away from it all. Here, life moves slowly. There's no rush, no stress, just the sound of rivers flowing and birds singing in the trees. The village is home to only a few hundred people, and its charm lies in its simplicity. Traditional stone houses, wooden bridges, and untouched nature make Theth a true escape from the modern world. Many of the locals still live in traditional stone houses. The area is also home to some incredible hiking trails, including the famous Theth Valley Hike, which offers breathtaking views of the surrounding mountains. If you're a fan of nature and want to experience Albania's wildest side, Theth is the perfect place to disconnect and recharge. You can wander through lush forests, trek to the Blue Eye, a stunning natural spring, or simply enjoy the peaceful atmosphere of the village. It's a destination ideal for hiking, photography, or just soaking in the untouched beauty of Albania's landscapes. Last, but certainly not least, we have Butrint, an ancient archaeological site tucked away in the southern corner of Albania near the Ionian Sea. The site is a fascinating blend of history and nature, with Roman ruins standing side by side with dense greenery. It's a place where ancient civilization meets wild beauty. Butrint has been a settlement for over 2,500 years, having hosted Greeks, Romans, and Byzantines. This makes it one of the most historically rich sites in Albania. The ruins are remarkably well preserved and include a Roman theater, an ancient temple, and the remains of a Byzantine cathedral. The site sits within Butrint National Park, so visitors can also enjoy the surrounding mangrove forests, wetlands, and wildlife. What makes Butrint even more special is its remote location. While many of Albania's popular tourist spots are becoming crowded, Butrint remains one of the country's best-kept secrets. Exploring the ruins while listening to the sounds of nature creates an unforgettable experience. There's also a mysterious town in Albania where honestly time seems to have stood still. Locals rarely leave, and a sense of mystery really surrounds its isolation. For now, I'll leave that secret for you to uncover yourself. Albania is full of hidden gems, from its breathtaking beaches to its ancient ruins and everything in between. Every corner of this country holds something worth exploring, something just waiting to surprise and delight you. Whether it's the shocking beauty of Shkodra, the timeless charm of Gjirokastër, or the wild isolation of Theth, there's a hidden gem here for every kind of traveler. The best part? Almost no one knows about it yet. Albania doesn't often appear in the typical European travel brochures, yet it offers everything travelers dream of. Affordable living, beautiful landscapes, and honestly, such rich culture. From the moment you arrive, it feels like you've stumbled upon something extraordinary, a place not yet overrun by mass tourism. That's part of its charm. Albania is underrated, accessible, and shockingly rich in both beauty and heart. Let's recap why it belongs on your bucket list. Budget. With just $600 a month, you can live comfortably in Albania. Whether you're in the bustling capital, Tirana, or the sleepy coastal town of Kasamil, rent is cheap, meals are affordable, and even the coffee is a bargain. Compare that with Western Europe, where $600 won't even cover a weekend in Paris. In Albania, you spend less but get so much more. Lifestyle. It's not just the affordability, it's the way of life. Albanians are warm, welcoming, and honestly just so genuine. You'll constantly be invited in for coffee or a meal with locals eager to share stories, laughter, and a little rakia, whether you want it or not. People. The women of Albania in particular stand out as intelligent, strong, and unapologetically confident. Their independence, education, and cultural pride reflect the resilience of the country itself. Food fresh, flavorful, and honestly unforgettable. From smoky grilled meats to flaky byrek and seafood so fresh it tastes like it was just pulled from the sea, every meal feels like an experience. And the coffee culture, unique, social, and just $1 a cup. It's the perfect way to start the day while watching life go by. At the end of the day, you may come for the budget, but you'll stay for the people. Albania isn't just a country you visit, it's a place you connect with. The warmth and hospitality will make you feel like part of the family before you even ask. So now that you know the secret, a beautiful, affordable, and culturally rich country where you can enjoy everything Europe has to offer without breaking the bank, it's time to ask yourself, would you go? If I gave you a free ticket to Albania, would you take it? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if this country blew your mind as much as it did mine, just wait until you see what's next. You won't believe what's hiding around the corner. Trust me, this is a journey you don't want to miss. This is just the beginning of uncovering some of the most incredible places you've never heard of, and Albania is only the start. So let's keep the adventure going. The world is full of surprises waiting for you. Stay tuned for what's next.